Hey, what's up everybody? Hammer Heart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing another discography countdown for you, and we're going to be talking about a band that I feel is severely underrated, and that is Kampfar. If you've never heard Kampfar before, this is a band from Norway. They play pagan black metal, been around since the early 90s, like since somewhere around 93 or 94 to the present day. They have had 9 full-length albums over the course of their career. I will say, I don't think any of these albums are bad. They are all solid. There are a few here that I think are actually a notch above, that are like actually really special, amazing albums, but even the ones that maybe are a step below those are still really good. This is a very difficult ranking to do, like, as I go through this. The ones that I have in my top 3 are the ones that I go back to the most. Those are the ones I really, really enjoy, that I think are next level. But from like spot number 4 down to spot number 9, they could almost change the order any given day. Even what I have in 9th is still a really awesome album. I don't think there's any bad ones here. So definitely a band you should go check out if you have not heard them. My introduction to this band, I actually saw them live back in somewhere around 2010. They toured through my city. I wasn't too familiar with the band at that time other than knowing the name, but then once I saw them live, they really blew me away with their high energy and just amazing stuff. And I went back and checked out their albums, and I've been a fan ever since. I would say this would be a band for fans of bands like Windeer or Taka, Vride. Maybe in their modern day, a band like Enslaved with the more progressive direction of some of their later works. But yeah, if anything like that sounds like you might enjoy it, definitely go check them out. You will not be disappointed. 9 albums that are all really worth listening to. Now let's find out my personal preferences. I'm going to rank these from my least favorite down to my favorite. All right, so kicking it off in 9th place. But like I said, even though I'm putting it last, any given day this could rise up, and this is still a very good album. Just something has to come here, and this is very difficult. But I'm going to go to 2014 with their 6th album, Djevelmakt. So this one, compared to their first 5 albums, they found them kind of going in a more mature songwriting direction. This is where I mentioned Enslaved. There's maybe some parts here that remind me of modern Enslaved. Kind of has that same type of vibe in certain parts, a little more progressive than maybe their previous albums. That being said, it still has the Kampfar like trademark pagan, folky black metal touch that they're kind of known for. I mean, you hear any Kampfar album, you're going to know that it's them right away. This album, maybe I'm putting it last because it's maybe not quite as interesting as some of their others. It's mostly mid-paced, maybe not as stand out as some others, but it's still very good. It's a lot more harmonious or like melodic than some of their previous stuff, but nonetheless, I am not crapping on this album. I still really dig it. Favorite songs, Milder, Fortapels. I'm going to be mispronouncing things throughout this video, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, just because it's 9th, don't write it off. Still go check this out. It's a solid album. All right, up next in 8th, I'm going to go to their 4th album, which is from 2008, titled Heimgang. So this one really follows a similar template from the 3rd album, which I haven't talked about yet, but I think this one focuses more on like punchy melodies rather than the ice-cold aggression of the previous album. It's got some shorter tracks. It's very like focused and more straightforward maybe than some of their other albums. Maybe I like some other ones a bit more, but this is still a very solid album. Like, this seems like a crime to put it in 8th because it is so good, but this whole discography is so good. It's so tough to rank these. Something has to come here. If I had to pick favorite songs, I'd go with Inferno. Veticult is awesome. Like, all in all, this album still kicks ass. To me, this is still like an 8 out of 10 album, but it's in 8th place just because their discography is this good. All right, up next in 7th, I'm going to go to their newest album, which was just released last year in 2022, Till Clovers Talked. So this one is really epic throughout. It's just got this like grandiose atmosphere, big vocal arrangements. It's still got the folky touches and moments of like black metal aggression and speed. But I found at like this stage in their career, they're almost kind of like giving you little tastes of different eras of the band and putting it all into one album, which really works here. It's very epic in scope, and this is just like to simply describe this album, it's Kampfar style black metal for 2022. It calls back to some previous styles of other albums, different phases of their career, but it's still really coherent and just really well done. It's such a well-rounded album. Really awesome stuff. Favorite tracks here, Urkraft, Requiem. All in all, very good album in 7th place. All right, up next in 6th, I'm going to 2015 with the album Profan. So this one, it was the album right after Jebelmacht, which I already talked about. This one kind of follows a similar pattern or style of that one, but it seems a lot more passionate and emotional, a lot more energetic than Jebelmacht, at least to me anyway. There's just more speed and aggression on this album, and it stands out a little bit more. They did start going in a more like grandiose direction at this point in their career, but this album is menacing yet sorrowful at the same time. Still has some of those folk elements that they're known for, and yeah, this one I feel is a step above Jebelmacht. Really awesome stuff. Favorite tracks here, Gloria Ablaze, Daemon. Some really interesting, engaging songs throughout this album. This one could even be higher. Like I said, once again, it's just very tough to rank these because I enjoy all of these albums. All right, now we're into the top 5. Up next in 5th place, I'm going to go to the album that followed up Profan from 2019, their second most recent album, Ophidian's Manifest. So at this stage in their career, this album is kind of typical of their sound at this point. Kind of like what I said with Till Clover's Tact, it kind of has elements from different phases of their career. It's got that perfect heathen atmosphere throughout. Maybe they're not really doing anything a whole lot new at this stage, but it's so well executed and just enjoyable. It's epic and triumphant and just a solid black metal album. Definitely worth checking out. Favorite tracks on here, Dominions, Not. All in all, solid stuff, cracking the top 5. All right, we got 4 more albums to go. In 4th place, I am going to go with their 5th album, which is from 2011, Mare. So this one is, compared to some of their earlier stuff, it's mostly focused on like mid-paced to slower tempo tracks, but Kampfar really excels in this style and this type of pacing for songs. There are some keys sprinkled in parts to really add to the atmosphere, and it's just another very consistent album. Maybe it's straightforward Kampfar style black metal, but it's just really well done. This album was where they kind of started a trend with their later albums of being maybe more in like a powerful Viking metal style as opposed to maybe the folkier, straight ahead black metal stylings of their earlier works. But nonetheless, like this one really stands out to me. Favorite tracks, the title track, Mare. Ildstemmer really gives me a Windir vibe, which I love. Windir's one of my favorite bands as well. So yeah, all in all, very solid stuff in 4th place. All right, the next 3. This is where I said it got really special, and these are their first 3 albums. We'll see what order I put them in, but if you haven't heard Kampfar before, I suggest you go start with any of these next 3 albums. They're all amazing, and let's see what order I've got them in today. So coming in 3rd place, I am going with their 3rd album, which is from 2006, titled Kvass. So this one was actually their first album in 7 years. After their sophomore album, they did take a little break before releasing anything else. This one, compared to the first 2 albums, did kind of update their sound. It was a little bit darker and more melancholic than the first couple. Maybe not as like triumphantly upbeat as those first couple albums, but I really enjoy the approach here. This is just cold, harsh black metal, really done well. The songwriting definitely got a lot more mature by this point. There's maybe a little bit more repetition in the riffs and songs, which make them more memorable and even like sing-alongable. Favorite songs on here, Lichtimen and Ravenheart are probably the 2 most stand out, but really this whole album rules. Awesome stuff here. Probably a good introduction to the band if you have never heard them before. All right, 2 more to go. In 2nd place, I'm going to go with their sophomore album, which is from 1999, Fra under Verdemen. I cannot pronounce it, so I apologize. Doing my best here, but I do not speak Norwegian. So this one really has a mythical atmosphere. It just feels like you're lost in an enchanted forest, and this would be the soundtrack as you're trying to find your way out and encountering trolls and demons from the forest. It's just folky pagan black metal at its finest here. Really continues the style of the debut, which I haven't talked about yet. kind of neck and neck in quality. I give the edge to the debut, which I will talk about shortly. That's just my preference, but this one's not too far behind. This is an amazing black metal album, very underrated. I've had to pick favorite tracks on here. Ion Skapens Kunst, Norse, Mork Pest. Once again, I apologize for my mispronunciations, but yeah, all in all, if anything I just said sounds like you would enjoy it, definitely go check this album out because it kicks ass. And that just leaves one. I kind of spoiled it with everything I've just been saying, but I'm going with the debut from all the way back from 1997, Melam Skogkledi Aser. Probably mispronouncing that, but wow, came out of the gates firing. Raw and epic pagan black metal. The vocals are tortured but amazing. There's little folky touches that just add to the charm. Like, this album has that classic, like, mid-90s black metal production with, you know the style, you know what I'm talking about. It just sounds perfect. It's got Viking vibes and atmosphere. There's even some clean vocals and chants sprinkled in. The bass is audible, which you don't always get in black metal. That really adds another element to it. And the songs just stand the test of time. This is my #1 choice for a reason. Really awesome black metal album. To pick favorite songs, Valdog, Kledi Bringi Od Smigding Blogderm. Can't pronounce that, but awesome song. Hymni. All in all, amazing stuff. If you haven't heard them, at least go check out this album. You'll be in for a treat with an underrated black metal gem. So anyways, these are just my thoughts and opinions as usual. If you're into the band, I'd love to get your takes down below. Let me know which albums are your favorite. Give me a ranking of all of them. Always like to talk about bands, especially underrated ones like this. So yeah, until next time, Hammer Heart Metal Reviews, out.